Most people think watches are about time only. But the longer you live with them, the more you realize they are about something else. They are about power, about taste, about identity, and about memory and the stories we inherit. And here's the funny part. The deeper you go, the more you end up in books. Because the best watch conversations didn't start on Instagram, they started in archives, in workshops, and yes, on paper. So today, I'm announcing a new chapter of this project, Series 3 of Watches and Politics, Watchbooks. Not just reviews, but context-driven, collector-to-collector episodes that help you decide what's worth reading and why is that particular book worth reading. If we haven't met, I'm Edi Shipoli and I live in a strange intersection. I'm an academic by training, international relations, politics, systems, power, but I'm also the kind of person who walks into a room and instinctively checks the wrists. Not to judge, more like to read the room. Because watches are one of the last objects that people choose on purpose. Even when no one needs them, people still want them. That alone tells you watches are never only about time. Watches and Politics is my attempt to connect two worlds, not only because they are my passions, but because they are usually kept separate. The world of horology, craft, design, heritage, obsession, and the world of politics, status, influence, identity, institutions, and how societies organize meaning. Sometimes that politics is big and historical, such as war, industry, empires, revolutions. Sometimes it's small and personal, such as taste, belonging, aspiration, the quiet signals we send without speaking. And I try to tell these stories in a way that's researched, but not dry, serious, but still fun. The kind of conversation you'd have with a friend after a watch meetup when everyone's finally relaxed. Series 1 was the foundation, 10 narrated episodes, 10 main topics, mapping how watches intersect with politics across time. From how mechanical timekeeping helped build modern systems to how wristwatches became part of war, part of industry, part of diplomacy, and part of everyone's status. That series was my way of saying, if you think watches are just accessories, you're missing the real story and the whole point. Then came Series 2, which is still ongoing. Interviews with insiders, people inside the industry, makers, executives, historians, journalists, the minds behind the scenes. Because it's one thing to talk about watches as historic, political, and cultural objects, it's another to hear how decisions actually get made, how brands shape narratives, how collectors influence markets, how craftsmanship survives in a corporate world. Series 2 is the living, breathing, present tense of the watch world, told by the people building it. Now, Series 3 exists for a very simple reason. As an academic, people constantly ask me, where do I start reading? What books actually matter? Which ones are real history and which ones are just pretty pages? And honestly, watch books are their own universe. For me, this journey started with educating myself on horology. So books play a pivotal role for me as a collector, and I am sure it does for many of you. However, some books are masterpieces, some are marketing dressed as scholarship, some are rare, out-of-print collector folklore, and some are brilliant, but not for everyone. So I decided to build something I wish existed when I started, a watch book series with context. Now here's the format. Each episode is a 10 to 15 minute, ready to listen summary of one watch book. But just a recap. I'll give you, for example, a quick intro into the author, why their voice matters, what the book is actually trying to do, the key stories and themes you'll take away, what I personally liked and what I didn't, who should read it and who can skip it, and one or two insider notes that collectors will appreciate. Think of it like this. This isn't here are the chapters. This is what does this book add to your understanding of watches? And then you decide if you want to read that book or skip it altogether. Because books are where watch culture gets formalized. They're where reputations get built. They're where myths become history. And if you care about watches, even casually, books will either sharpen your taste or waste your time. Series 3 is here to sharpen your taste. So if you're a collector, a beginner, a watch nerd, an industry person, or someone who just loves culture and design, this series is for you. If you want to build a real watch library, or you just want to know what's worth your time, you are in the right place. So let me invite you to subscribe, because these episodes will build into a long-term archive. Comment with the next watch book you want me to cover, and if you've read the same book, tell me where you agree or disagree. Because the point of this series isn't to lecture. It is to create a shared reading of watch culture together. Welcome to Series 3, Watch Books, here on Watches and Politics. So let's start turning the pages.